Hey guys, this is going to be chapter 45 and 46 of There's a Boy in the Girls' Bathroom. I know it's backwards. I can't change that. All right. Bradley watched Jeff poke his finger into the doorbell and heard the ring inside the house. There was a loud scream. A moment later, Colleen opened the door. Happy birth, he sang, but stopped when Jeff elbowed him in the side. This is for you, Jeff said, handing Colleen his present. This is for you, said Bradley, as he did the same. Ooh, what is it? She asked. It's Bradley started to say, but Jeff elbowed him again to shut his mouth. They followed Colleen into the house. You're not supposed to tell her what you got her, Jeff whispered. But she asked. She's supposed to ask, but you're not supposed to tell her. Don't tell anyone. Bradley nodded like he understood, but of course he didn't. Hello, Bradley, said Melinda. He looked to Jeff for help. Hello, Melinda, said Jeff. Hello, Melinda, said Bradley. Colleen's mother came in and led everyone out to the backyard. A picnic table had been set up on the patio with paper plates and cups. Bradley chose a seat and sat down. My, this boy must be hungry, said Colleen's mother. The girls laughed. Bradley looked around and being very puzzled. He was the only one sitting down. He quickly rose. Bumping against the table, a paper cup fell onto the ground. As he bent down to pick up the paper cup, he knocked his chair over. The girls were hysterical. Bradley looked around helplessly. Amy picked up the cup, and Dina set the chair upright. We don't eat yet, Jeff explained, as Bradley made it safely away from the table. First, we have to play games. Bradley turned pale. Just do what I do, said Jeff. A large dog dashed through the back door and jumped up on Bradley, putting his muddy paws on Bradley's clean shirt. Bradley nearly fell over. Chicken, get down, scolded Colleen's mother. Chicken had wiry red hair and a square face. He got down, but he stayed by Bradley's side. Chicken is usually afraid of everybody, said Colleen. Bradley patted him on his head. Glad Chicken liked him. Miss Vertigo split the group into two teams for a relay race. She put Jeff and Bradley on separate teams because she said it wouldn't be fair for two boys to be together with the other members of his team. He was in the middle. Amy and Betty were in front of him. Judy and Dina were behind him. On the other team, Jeff was talking to Colleen. Bradley wondered if he should talk to one of the girls on his team, but he didn't know what to say. Besides, they were all talking to each other. So he petted Chicken. On your mark, said Miss Vertigo. Get set, go. Suddenly, the race started, and everyone on his team was screaming, Come on, Amy, go! Run, Amy, faster! He watched Amy run and touch the tree at the end of the yard and turn around and come back. She slapped Betty's hand. Then Betty ran toward the tree. Run, Betty! Everyone except Bradley shouted. Slow down, Betty, he whispered to himself, hoping his turn would never come. He turned around. Judy was behind him, yelling to Betty. Do you want to go next? He asked her. Stick your hand out, she hollered back. He spun around and stuck his hand out just in time. Betty slapped it and took off. He ran as hard as he could to the tree. Go, Bradley, he heard someone yell. Come on, Bradley! Run faster than he had ever ran before. Chicken barked at his side. Melinda was running for the other team. She had started before him, but he beat her to the tree. He almost slipped and fell, but caught his balance and charged back toward his cheering teammates. Come on, Bradley, they all yelled. He slapped Judy's hand, then bent over to catch his breath. He turned and shouted louder than anyone, Go, Judy, run! Come on, Dina! Dina crossed the finish line, and everyone on his team jumped up and down. What happened? He asked. We won, said Betty. He jumped up and down, too. That means we each get 2 points, said Judy. No, Jeff hadn't told him anything about points. Judy explained it to him. Everyone on the winning team gets 2 points, and everybody on the losing team only gets 1 point. Betty interrupted. It would come out the same if they all just gave gave 1 point to the winners and nothing to the losers, she said. But this way, the losers don't feel so bad. I'm telling him, said Judy. After each race, we trade teams. And then at the end of all the races, Colleen's mother counts up the points, and the girl with the most points gets first pick from the basket of prizes. Then the girl with the second most points gets to pick, and so on. Colleen's mother had a chart with everyone's name on it to keep track of points, explained Betty. That's a complicated birthday party. I'm telling him, said Judy. Colleen's mother had a chart. Bradley laughed with delight. Are all birthday parties this much fun? He asked. Judy and Betty looked at each other. The only thing that made this party special was the boys, but they couldn't tell Bradley that. Haven't you ever been to a birthday party before? Asked Betty. Not for a long time. I got kicked out of the last one I went to. Well, if you have any questions, just ask me, said Betty. Or me, said Judy. I've been to more parties than you, said Betty. You have not, said Judy. She hasn't. What about Holly's birthday party? Asked Betty. You didn't go to that one. That's because we were on vacation, said Judy. So you still didn't go. They had to switch teams for the next relay race. This time, Bradley was with Betty, Amy, Karen, and Melinda. For this race, everyone had to hop on one foot. On one foot? Bradley exclaimed. He rooted loudly for everyone on his team, and when it was his turn, he heard them all cheer for him. His team won again. You're an excellent hopper, Melinda, he said. After the race, you hopped twice as far as Colleen on each one. Melinda beamed. You're a good hopper, too, she said. Colleen's mother marked the points on the charts, and they switched teams for the next race. This time, they had to hop on both feet. On both feet? Bradley exclaimed. Teams for each new race. He and Jeff were never allowed to be on the same team. Since Colleen always made sure that she was on Jeff's team, Bradley was never with her either. He was glad about that. He felt comfortable with everyone else, but still a little scared of Colleen. He was afraid she might ask him another question and that he wasn't supposed to answer. Lori was on his team for the backwards race. She stood behind him in line and screamed in his ear the whole time, and he loved it. As loud as her to hear himself. His ears were still ringing when Miss Vertigo announced that the next race would be a somersault race. The smile left his face. He did not know how to do a somersault. He looked anxiously at Chicken. But as it turned out, no one on his team could do a somersault. It was hilarious. Everyone was laughing. When it was his turn, he rolled and flopped in every direction except the way he was supposed to go. And every time he hit the ground, Chicken tried to lick his face. Perhaps he would have done better if he could have stopped laughing. Everyone on the other team was good at somersaults. The teams were just worked out that way. Karen was the best. You should be in the Olympics, he told her after the race. She smiled and blushed. Bradley smiled too. Even though his team lost, he thought it had been the most fun race of the day. Plus, when the girls somersaulted in their party dresses, he could see their underwear. That's the end of chapter 45. We're going to do 46 now. Colleen's mother told everyone to find a partner for the three-legged race. Jeff and Colleen looked nervously at each other. Hold on one second. Dixon, baby, stop kicking out because it's making noises, okay? Judy and Betty paired up. They stood side by side with their arms around each other's shoulders as Miss Vertigo tied their inside legs together. Lori and Melinda became another team. Bradley thought they looked funny since Melinda was almost twice Lori's size. Amy and Dina looked even funnier. Since they were both dressed the same, they looked like a two-headed monster, except, of course, he didn't believe in monsters. Karen suddenly realized what was happening. If Jeff and Colleen became partners, it meant she would have to be partners with Bradley. So Jeff said to Colleen, "Who's your partner?" "No one yet," said Colleen. "Who's yours?" "No one yet." Colleen's mother stepped in and paired the final two teams. She didn't think it would be proper for a boy and a girl to have legs tied together, so she made Jeff and Bradley one team and Colleen and Karen the other team. Bradley was glad that he and Jeff were finally on the same team. Colleen and Jeff were happy with the teams too. As much as they liked each other, they weren't quite ready to put their arms around each other and have their legs tied together. Karen was the only one who was disappointed. She thought it would have been exciting to have been partners with Bradley. The 5 teams lined up. It wasn't a relay race. Each team would go at the same time. They had to run past the tree to the fence, then back. Don't try to run too fast, Jeff cautioned. The most important thing is that we keep together so that we don't fall down. Bradley nodded. On your mark, said Miss Vertigo. Gold, get set, go. They took 2 steps, then tumbled to the ground. As they tried to get up, they kept pulling each other back down. At last, they stood up together and started after the others. Inside, outside, Jeff directed as they moved their legs in unison. The other teams took a long time turning around at the fence. When Jeff and Bradley reached the fence, they simply fell down again and stood up facing the other direction. It was quicker that way. Amy and Dina were just ahead of them. Amy tried to go to the left of the trees and Dina tried to go to the right, so they smashed into it. Inside, outside, said Jeff. And Bradley charged around them. Karen and Colleen were in the lead when they suddenly stumbled and fell on their face. Judy and Betty tumbled over them. Lori and Melinda had stopped and turned to avoid the pile. Jeff and Bradley charged past, now in first place. Inside, outside, called Jeff. Must have missed a beat somewhere, because when he said inside, they moved their feet outside, and when he said outside, they moved their feet inside. Hey, Bradley, you're going the wrong way, yelled Lori. Whoa, up. Divided across the finish line in first place, just ahead of Lori and Melinda. Jeff and Bradley crawled across in third. Judy, Betty, Karen, and Colleen remained tangled together on the grass. After everyone got untied and gathered on the grass next to the patio. Now what? Bradley asked. Nobody. He didn't ask anyone in particular. Colleen's mother is adding up the points, said Betty. Then we'll get to pick our prizes, said Judy. He asked me, said Betty. Everyone hushed as Miss Vertigold prepared the announcement of the winner. The winner is, she paused suspensefully, Bradley! He was shocked. He had been on the winning team every time except for the 3-legged race and the somersault race. But he had been having so much fun, he didn't even notice. Everyone clapped their hands as he walked to the front. Miss Vertigold gave him a blue ribbon and said first place on it. No one had told him about the ribbon. Then he got to pick a prize. He looked through the basket. There were lots of good things from which to choose. Perfume, earrings, hair ornaments. He chose a harmonica. Melinda came in second, then Amy, Judy, Dina, Karen, Lori, and Betty, and Jeff was last. Jeff knew he'd be last, since he was never on Bradley's team. The only race he won was the somersault race. Actually, he had tied for last with Colleen, but Colleen didn't get a prize because she's getting all the presents later. Jeff took the only prize left in the basket, a doll's dress. Thank you, he said politely. Now what? Bradley asked. We have ice cream and cake, said Melinda. Oh boy, said Bradley. Melinda laughed. They sat at the picnic table. Colleen sat at the head of the table. Bradley sat between Jeff and Melinda. Judy and Betty sat across from him. Miss Vertigold's going to bring in the cake now, said Judy. With candles, said Betty. I'm telling him, said Judy. With candles. Miss Vertigo brought the cake, and suddenly everyone started singing. Bradley was caught by the surprise. He didn't have time to remember the words, though he tried. He sang, Happy birthday, dear to you. Happy birthday to you. To dear Colleen. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to... He suddenly realized he was the only one still singing, and everyone laughed. It's not his fault, said Judy. This is the first birthday party in a long time. There are 10 candles because she's 10 years old, explained Betty. Oh, I get it, said Bradley. Lori laughed. Colleen blew them all out. That means her wish will come true, explained Melinda. But she can't tell you what she wished for. Otherwise, it won't come true, Lori explained. Bradley carefully ate his cake and ice cream without making a mess. Then everyone went into the living room where Colleen opened her presents. Open mine first, they urged. That one's mine. Open mine, Colleen, said Bradley. After each present was opened, everyone said, "How neat. Ooh, or I wish I had one of those." Bradley said those things too, and he meant what he said, although most of the gifts were things he'd never had wanted. Colleen picked up the next present. "That's mine," he shouted. Colleen read the card. On the front of the card, there was a picture of a baseball player swinging a baseball bat. It said, "Hope your birthday is a..." On the inside of the card, it showed the bat smacking a ball, and it said, "Big hit." Under it, it said, "Happy birthday," and it was signed, "Love, Bradley." Everyone went crazy. "Love!" exclaimed Amy. "Love?" As he realized he had made a terrible mistake. "Bradley's in love with Colleen," said Dina. "Ooh, Bradley," said Judy. "When you getting married?" teased Lori. "Shut up," Karen shouted. Everyone stopped talking and looked at her very surprised. "Big deal," said Karen. "You're all so immature." Colleen tore off the wrapping paper and looked at Bradley's gift. Her mouth dropped open. She showed it to everyone. "Wow," said Lori. "Let me see," said Amy. It was a replica of the human heart. They could see all the blood vessels, the aorta, and all the capillaries. The heart valves opened and shut. It could be taken apart and then put back together again. "Melinda, I wish I had one of those," said Betty. Bradley smiled proudly. He felt happier about the fact that Colleen liked his present. He felt more happy about the fact that Colleen liked his present than about coming in first place. But of course, he knew all along she'd like it. Carla had told him to give her a gift from the heart. Colleen opened the rest of her presents. Then everyone went home. Jeff and Bradley left together. It was still light outside, although the street lights had come on. "So," asked Jeff, "was that fun?" Bradley exclaimed. "It was the most. At first, when I gave Colleen her present and she asked me what it was, I almost told her. And then, when I was the only one sitting at the table, my, this boy must be very hungry. But then the races started and everyone got points, even the losers. Only next time, I won't sign love. Karen's a good somersaulter. Chicken has a funny face for a dog. Maybe if they get a chicken, they'll name it Dog." He blew his harmonica. The doll's dress dangled from Jeff's hand. And so tomorrow we will read chapter 47. It's the last chapter in the book. Dixon wants to say hey. Tell him to have a good day.
Have a good day.
Thank you, guys.